In 2017, Universal Studios released The Mummy, a fantasy action-adventure horror film starring Tom Cruise. If you forgot this movie existed, that's quite alright, because everyone involved probably forgot about it too. But even if you did see it, you might not know that The Mummy was Universal's attempt to launch a cinematic universe. After the critical and financial success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the relative financial success of the DC Extended Universe, every studio in Hollywood wanted to dip their toes into a cinematic universe of their own. So Universal Studios reached into their bag of intellectual property and pulled out a bunch of monster movies from the 30s and 40s. They used these movies to create the Dark Universe. The idea was to make modern versions of several different monsters and have their stories intertwine in a series of movies. Universal quickly signed a few big writers, directors, and actors to spearhead their new universe. So, in May of 2017, the world was gifted this incredible picture. Here we can see Russell Crowe, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Javier Bardem, and Sofia Boutella. By the way, good for Sofia Boutella for making it into this photo because she is significantly less famous than everyone else there. But let's take a moment to break down this picture because it really is hilarious. The most basic problem is that all of these people are clearly not in the same room. Just different pictures all pasted together. For some reason, Javier Bardem has a chair, and Johnny Depp has a stool, while everyone else is just standing. And Tom Cruise, who's actually 5'7", is apparently the same height as the 6-foot Russell Crowe. Not to mention everyone is dressed up very nice, except Tom Cruise, who's in a t-shirt and jeans. I think my favorite part is the fact that Russell Crowe was apparently holding a cane in the original photo, which they very haphazardly photoshopped away while leaving his hand in that extremely natural position. Anyways, The Mummy came out a month later and caused the whole Dark Universe to fall apart. Here's a still from the movie, which feels a lot kinkier than I expected, but maybe I'm just a pervert. Well, I'm definitely a pervert, but it still feels too kinky. Although The Mummy actually made a surprising $410 million in the box office, Universal had thrown so much money at the movie that it still ended up losing the studio around $60 to $100 million. At that point, Universal shut down the entire Dark Universe. All the writers and directors were fired and the planned movies were removed from Universal's schedule, which means that Javier Bardem and Johnny Depp's entire involvement in this universe began and ended with a poorly photoshopped picture. In retrospect, everything about the Dark Universe was destined to fail. We should have known that when IMAX released a trailer for The Mummy with some of the sound missing, resulting in this cinematic gem. One of the writers involved in the planning of the Dark Universe, Eric Heiserer, spoke to the Playlist podcast about his experience, describing that their plan was to build the plane when we fly it, which really speaks for itself. In 2022, the Mummy director Alex Kurtzman described the movie as the biggest failure of his life both personally and professionally. Sounds like a great experience all around. But The Mummy wasn't a total loss for Tom Cruise because it did help him add one more award to his trophy case. The Razzie for Worst Actor. It's only a shame it didn't win the other 7 Razzies it was nominated for. In the end, it seems the real Dark Universe is the one we live in for allowing Universal's Dark Universe to even make it as far as it did. Now please consider subscribing so this YouTube channel doesn't become the biggest failure of my life, both personally and professionally.